Yes, there is bias when using AI tools. It can come from the AI itself, the way that the systems are designed to provide the average, most common, safest, most supportive response, but it can also come from the humans in the way that we inject our own perspectives into the prompting or the interpretation. The interesting thing is, we can actually use AI to help overcome the bias of using AI. And that's what we're going to do here in the next few minutes. We're going to start with the AI side. Now, if you want to make sure that you are getting a balanced perspective, not just a lopsided, tell me what's great, positive response, this is the prompt that you're going to use. Instead, as an example, instead of saying, explain why this will be effective, we are instead going to say, give me 3 evidence-based perspectives on this topic regarding balanced literacy, which is the topic here, and include, here's the important bit, in areas of agreement, that's one side, and disagreement among researchers and practitioners. Basically, give me both. I want to see it from both perspectives, the good and the bad, or the pros and the cons. Now, if you want to make sure that you are getting a full scope of information and the new information and lesser known perspectives, this is how you're going to do it, because otherwise the AI won't. It will just give you the most common stuff. So instead of saying summarize the research on this topic, which is going to give us a narrow set, we say indicate which claims are widely supported by the research and which remain contested or uncertain, because AIs don't like to provide uncertain answers or information, so we're giving it permission to make sure we hear all the perspectives. Now, if you want to make sure that the AI is not going to give you just the broad general information about everything nationally and so forth, but you want to make sure it's actually targeted on your particular context, you're going to say something like this. Analyze this attendance pattern, okay, that's the topic here, for middle schools in rural districts over the past 5 years. We have to actually define the scope, which is where we are looking, and the boundaries, which is to say don't look past this. Then, here's another important piece of that. Identify contextual factors that can materially alter the conclusions. Basically, give me this information, but what else should we be thinking about that's going to affect the way we can apply this information to our circumstances? So that's number 3. And number 4, this one is actually, I would call this essential, basically. Instead of saying summarize the arguments about this and getting the general, commonly accepted, well-referenced information, we want to make sure we're also looking outside at external and other minority perspectives. You know, it's going to give us the top of the bell curve unless we ask for the long tails on either end. So that's what this particular one does here. And let me just show you what this one looks like. So this is prompt number 4, where we are giving the AI permission and specific instructions to look beyond the common information and tell me what else is out there. What else? Because sometimes the answers that we need are out on the edges. Basically because no school is at the top of the bell curve. We are all, to some degree, outside the norm. All right, so that's a very long one here. Holy moly. Sorry about the motion sickness. So once we've gotten the general idea, then we're going to follow up with this one. Less commonly represented, but evidence-based perspectives on the particular topic. We've already seen the general stuff. So it's going to go through those kinds of ideas and concepts and information that were simply left out of the original response. Very useful stuff. What we need, as we're reading all this, is we need to know, is our particular circumstance somehow represented out in the margins? Is there something there that might be useful to us, especially if it comes up in our own local circumstances? So really, really great, strong prompt. Now, having done that, let's turn to the human side, which is to say, we put our own biases and our own perspectives and assumptions into our interaction, and we're going to get them back to us. We're going to get them mirrored. So we have to be able to break the way that we think, just like we're trying to break the typical way that the AI thinks. And the first is to make sure that we are not just asking for confirmation bias. So for example, if we have a reading program and we say, why did it fail? We are assuming that it failed, and we're assuming that the answer is in the information that we have provided. So instead of looking for confirmation bias or confirmation of our own ideas, we want to say this instead: analyze, and we're not going to diagnose the problem. Analyze the implementation and outcomes in our initiative, identify strengths, weaknesses, contextual constraints, and areas of uncertainty as well. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor. You don't say, hey, doctor, this is the problem I'm having. You want to describe the symptoms and describe what you're experiencing and let the doctor figure it out, basically. So that's what this one does right here. Now, thinking about those embedded assumptions, we don't always know what assumptions we're bringing to the table. We're not always fully aware of our own mental processes upon which we're making decisions. But the AI is not inside our head, and it can help us find those assumptions. So let's say we've got this reading program up here, and we're going to say, why did it fail? All right. However, before responding, and this is the important part, before responding, identify assumptions embedded in this question. Basically, here's my information, here's my question, but am I also making assumptions? Because if we don't pinpoint those, then what we're going to get back is a biased, lopsided response. So we have to think about how we're thinking as well, and the AI can help us to do that. So this is number 6. Let me just show you this one quickly as soon as I can find it. Here it is. All right. And what you're going to see is the AI is actually really good as it analyzes the language of the prompt and identifying what those potential assumptions might be. So the framing already presumes several causal and evaluative conclusions. So yes, it has assumptions, and here's what they are, and it's going to go through the list. Now, our follow-up to that is going to be, great, rewrite the prompt for me for a neutral, objective, and balanced question. So then the AI can help us to do that. We run that prompt, and we get a nice, non-biased, balanced response in return. So very, very good stuff. And very quickly, let's see, that's 6, 7. Sometimes as we are asking for an analysis, we'll say analyze it by this way, this way, this way, and this way. But if we want to make sure that we are prompting to get a full analysis, then here is what we're going to add to our prompt. What factors might I be missing or leaving out of my analysis? Basically, I don't really know what I need to know, and I can't think of everything. So what else should I be looking at? And the AI will help us to do that. So we get a nice, comprehensive, balanced, non-biased response back. And finally, sort of the opposite side of that, context limitation. If we're just not giving it enough detail to give us a nice, neutral response back, well, we can ask it, what do you need from me? And the part that we're going to add to our prompt is this. Before responding, ask me questions for clarification to form a better, more comprehensive, and balanced response. It will ask questions, will provide the answers, and then it will run the task that we've asked for. We have a much better chance of getting back a non-biased, complete, answer. So there you go. 8 very quick prompts on using AI to help overcome bias when using AI. I hope you found this useful. Take care.